Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you, yeah. I can hear you, yes. Can you not hear me? Can you hear me? Are you talking back? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jakarta 2023 for the second Speed World Cup of the year. That is our stadium. My name is Matt Groom, and I'm joined here by Darren Skolnak. Darren, how are you doing today?
Doing wonderful this evening. How are you, Matt?
Not too bad. It's difficult conditions. It was raining earlier on, but luckily the rain has gone away. But as you can see from that screen, the humidity at 96%. And Darren, I don't know about you, but I can certainly feel the sweat.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely cooled off a little bit. It was quite warm earlier and yesterday during qualifiers. So it's a little bit nicer now, but still hot outside.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be good conditions for the athletes. So you can see the organisers cleaning up the last little bits of damp that we can see there on the stage, getting everything ready for the athletes. Now, Darren, you've climbed in a qualifying event earlier on. How difficult is this heat to deal with?
It's difficult. You get used to it, and I feel like when you're on the wall, there's so much going through your head that you're not necessarily thinking about the heat, but it definitely does affect performances of athletes who are not from hot countries such as Indonesia.
Now, we can see in the background there the warm-up wall. That's quite unique for a speed event. It's 4 lanes and a mini auto belay and the start of the speed route. Yeah. Darren, does that help you guys out, having that facility there?
Oh, certainly, yeah. And this competition had some of the fastest qualifying times ever, and I would certainly say part of that is due to the fact that we were able to warm up on the actual speed holds and parts of the speed route beforehand.
It's quite funny to watch. You can actually see the athletes springing around behind there, getting ready. Well, the men are at least. The women are going first, so they will have warmed up and get ready, and they're waiting behind that curtain you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, if you're just joining us, speed climbing is a very simple concept. You start on the bottom, you get to the top, and in the finals, it's a straight race. And Darren, it changes a bit because qualifying, it's against the clock, so you do it on times. But when it's a race like this, I mean, the pressure ramps up a bit, and you've suddenly got a human component to the competition. How does that change things for you, for example?
Yeah, well, all that matters is that you beat the other person. So certainly it's a little bit more competitive beforehand. And on the wall, more pressure too. I mean, you have to keep going no matter what. Even if your competitor slips, you keep going. If they're having a clean run, you keep going because they could slip later, and all that matters is that you beat them at the end.
Yeah, and we do have some exciting races because of that, and you're right. If you slip, don't necessarily stop climbing. But we're looking now at the men's speed qualification results. And Darren, we were chatting earlier about how quick those times are. You've got to get under, well, I mean, 5.5 at the moment to be able to get into this.
Yeah, so we can see on the screen that Yaroslav was our 5.35, our 16th place competitor. It's the fastest speed qualifier time to get into finals ever at a World Cup.
So some speedy fast times out there. No world records went down in qualifying, but we are in Indonesia, and because we're in Indonesia, it means that everyone is absolutely speed mad, and they will be going crazy for a certain Federic Leonardo, who smashed the world record twice on the way to the gold medal.
Unbelievable. So in Seoul, not only did Federic Leonardo break the world record, but he was the first ever to go sub-5 in competition, and he finished off with a 490 new world record.
Yeah, so that was Seoul. We move on now, of course, to Jakarta. These are our volunteers on stage with the auto belay attached. Different from lead, because in lead, obviously, you've got kind of, I'm not saying proper belay, but this is a machine belay system.
Right. It's all automatic.
And
more standardized that way.
Testing the timing pads there, getting everything ready for the athletes. It's been a bit of a scramble here because of that torrential rain that took place earlier on. But I think everything is pretty much set up. And Darren, when you were saying about the crowd here, it is a big crowd here in the stadium.
It's amazing.
And it's an educated crowd because speed is their thing.
Right.
Was it exciting to qualify in front of that crowd the other day?
Oh, it was so exciting. I've never heard cheering in a speed climbing qualifying round like that. Just the amount of people that showed up and the amount of people that are knowledgeable about what they're watching is unbelievable.
Yeah, and we do have some very big names here in tonight's final. Alexandra Miroslav climbing for the women. She has not made a final since 2013. Unbelievable consistency from her.
She has also not lost a World Cup since 2019. Her last speed climbing competition that she lost was World Championships 2021, and she is out right now. We have our first two.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alexandra Miroslav on the left-hand side, and then Yafel Zhao from China on the right. So on paper, Alexandra should have this in the bag, but as we know with speed, anything can happen, and we're hoping that these weather conditions haven't affected our wall too much. We aren't going to see any slips. And Alexandra is taped up and ready, and just her clock-like consistency literally is unbelievable. Yeah. So the stadium drops into silence as the athletes turn. They face the wall. Starting position, 2 hands on the wall, 1 on the timing pad, 1 on the wall. And we wait our first race of the evening. And it's off to a clean start for both of them. Alexandra explodes off her starting blocks, easy through the middle section. She's pulling ahead, at least her body length, but then a big slip. Had to keep it going to the end at a 7.39. Darren, we were talking about slips, we've just seen one.
That was a very eventful race. You rarely ever see Alexandra Miroslav slip. I'm sure she's a little bit shaken by that, but we'll see how she holds up for the rest of the competition. Yeah,
she was cruising to that point, and as you said, that's not something we often see from her. So interesting start to this final straight away.
Yeah.
So so Yafel Zhao gets knocked out of the first round. She will leave. Alexandra just moves on to the next. So next race will be Dai Niu from China versus Nurul from Indonesia, and in front of her home crowd. Big moment.
Big moment. I think it's a good time to mention that we have in the women's final 4 Indonesian women, 4 Chinese women, and 4 Polish women. The remaining 4 out of our 16 are from various countries.
Yeah, so that's the split, and you can see the countries which are really making big indents into the finals. And it seems like every time we have a speed comp, we see familiar names at the moment. She is one of them. But Dai Niu will want to cause an upset here. She'll want to make the quiet be quiet. So here we go. And that's different names there on screen. So it's Dai Niu on the left, Nurul on the right. Clean start for both women. And it's absolutely neck and neck, really hard to call. Now Nurul sits slightly behind. Dai Niu will stop it at 6.94. Awesome from her. A very close race once again from both women.
Yeah, it seems like Dai Niu really pulled away at the top.
That was that last section where she found something a bit extra. And the Chinese athletes are good at that. They stay so focused throughout the race. And again, we saw that in that example there. So Nurul leaves. Unfortunate for her. 2 wins on the left-hand lane. Darren, does it make any difference if you're left and right in these things?
I would say no. Some athletes might have a preference, and some athletes might feel that some walls favor the left versus the right side, but I think in reality, they're equal.
There we go. Now Natalia Kaluchka on the left-hand side, one of 2 twins, the Kaluchka twins in this final, and Franziska Ritter on the right from Germany. So this should be quite a good race. Both women very capable of winning here. And slips, as we've seen, and little hesitations and false starts can be a problem. Look at those PBs, though. Natalia Kaluchka, on paper, should be leading the way on this.
At your mark.
So the athletes' turn once again. Take your marks is announced across the stadium.
Ready.
Natalia looking for a nice clean start to her competition, get things going. And they are both off clean. Franziska Ritter keeping in touch though through the bottom half. Oh, and a big slip from her down low. And Natalia just needs to keep it together. She slows a little, makes the jump easy, clean at the top, 7.37. You saw her pause there a little bit. I think she knew that Franziska had fallen.
Yeah. A lot of the time we'll see athletes slow down at the top if their opponent has fallen, and that's something that we saw here.
Yeah, that left lane again. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but proving so far to be the one to go for. I have been told that because if you're facing away from your opponent, it can be less distracting sometimes.
Yeah, that might be the case. Again, it really depends on the athlete and how focused they are able to keep themselves. So,
and I guess you guys practice both lanes quite a lot, so you're used to either one. Right, second Kaluchka sister, Alexandra this time with black hair. If you get confused, Natalia has blonde hair. I get confused sometimes. And Jimin Jong from Korea on the right. So again, we see this preparation, the same. Often they practice this routine. It's all about a mental game at this point, and cannot overemphasize this enough. Speed climbing is, at this point, certainly, sort of 90% in your head.
I like to say that the race is set before you start.
That's very true. And the mind games are played in that tunnel. A bit different from other types of climbing. Right, here we go. We're ready. Good start from both women. Alexandra slightly behind here. Jimin Jong catching up, and now a little hesitation from Jimin Jong, and Alexandra does take it. Jimin Jong, I don't know if it was a hesitation, a pause, what it was, but she lost it in the final half of that race there. Moment for her. She looks down at her shoes. Perhaps they were wet. How much do you think mentally it's playing with their heads? Because although we're doing everything we can to prevent the wet, let's have a look and see if we can see a slip here. So we follow her up. There it was. It wasn't really a slip. It was just a slight body twist.
More of a stumble, yeah. Definitely enough to throw her off. I would say that the humidity and the wetness is playing with their heads. If I was in their position right now in finals, it would certainly be affecting my mental game.
Yeah, because they've got to make their way from the warm-up area to the side of the stage. They will be given those plastic booty things that we see.
Many of them take towels out as well, be able to wipe their feet right before they start.
Well, actually, there we can see they're walking in their trainers across, so that's what they're doing. Patricia Hudziak from Poland on the right, Dezak Madre on the left. Now, Dezak is fascinating. There she is there when she races. She's a lady who just never gives up. I've seen her come back from crazy circumstances to take the win.
Yeah. She had an unbelievably fast qualifying time. Second place in the qualifiers, so really, really impressive. Excited to see what we can see from her.
So, that's the stats. And here we go, getting ready. Patricia has been on the scene for a long, long time. Seen her in the finals so often. But Dezak, look, she just stays in her zone. It's so impressive. And I watched her, there was a technical issue earlier on. The microphone stopped working. She had to go off stage, kept within herself, and she's one of those who can just find something special on the wall. There we go. Both women off clean. Dezak easily ahead at the moment. Patricia trying to claw her way back as she approaches half a body length behind her, and it is going to be Dezak. Wow. 6.9. Very clean from her.
Impressive time. Not even close to her PB, though, of 6.58. She has a lot more in the tank.
Yeah, you can see, second she touches that wall, there's perhaps a brief moment, a smile, and then straight back into her zone and calms herself down again.
Finals goes by so quickly. These athletes have to stay focused.
Absolutely so. Dezak takes victory on that one. And let's watch that again. Look how fluid she is, just smooth on the way up. Never really a moment. Patricia looked like she was starting to panic a little bit as she came back, just trying to increase the tempo.
As we continue here with the women's speed round to find out who will be moving on into our
right, next race, your teammate, Emma Hunt, and you can be as biased as you want.
Number 109.
I'm excited to see what she can do. She is our sole woman American in finals. We'll also have Sam Watson coming out for the men.
Yeah, he'll be up later on. We do the women's first, then we switch to men. Shenyang Wang on the right from China. So Emma Hunt, very impressive throughout Seoul.
Let's go, Emma.
Ready.
Green lights all round, we're on the way. Emma slightly behind, now starts to pull it back in the middle part. Shenyang slips, hesitates, and it is going to be Emma Hunt taking victory there. Shenyang, 2 hesitations and a little bit disappointed. She kicks her leg in the air with annoyance there.
Yeah, interesting. If you watch how Emma climbs, she's a little more extended than the other women. She's on the taller side of the athletes, so she's able to be so, but she tends to skip more hold than the other women do.
Interesting. We were talking a lot, Yuli, about beta before, and we were chatting about the Chinese method especially, but the women don't tend to use that.
No, so it's more of a method that the men use right now, and they take a leftward route at the top of the wall as opposed to more streamlined.
Yeah, I was told that there's some things that the women are trying to work on and find that because it will improve their scores, but it's a power thing and it's something they're building towards. So I'm waiting for the first woman to do the Chinese top in a final. Yeah. Exciting for that.
Emma is actually, I believe, the first woman to do the one-arm dyno in competition.
The what? Mid-route?
Mid-route, yeah.
Very impressive. One-arm dyno. I can't even do a one-arm pull-up half the time. So. Right, Capucine Viglioni from France on the right. Li Jiandeng from China on the left. As Darren said earlier, big Chinese presence here in the finals.
At your mark.
So the women turn to face the wall. Clouds of chalk there, catching the light. Going for both, and it's a brilliant start from the left-hand inside. Look at this, powering her way up. Leisure Dane stops the clock at 6.8. And what a massive start. He's exploded off that starting point.
These Chinese athletes are so fast, so consistent too, which is really impressive. Even more so than the speed.
Yeah, I think consistency is right. Why also, I've got something to ask you. Why do all speed climbers need to take their shoes off immediately? Like, I know you've got no shoes in climbing, but it's like the second they take their shoes off.
That's a really good question. I can't give you a good answer to that. I do it myself. I would say it's more so for comfort, but why do we do that more than boulders or elite climbers? I just don't know.
Yeah, it's always easier. I've just started there. Look, she's halfway down the wall, shoes off.
Maybe it's a cultural thing.
Finishing
culture.
Right, two Indonesians athletes out now. Raja Salsabia on the left, Mutia Amanda on the right. Indonesian crowd conflicted here, and in fact I can look out onto my right and they are all on their feet right now. Camera phones out, watching this moment as both their athletes get ready to try to knock each other out of this final. So, Amanda on the right, Salsabia on the left. Two hands on as usual. We wait for the buzzers. Clean start from both women. It's neck and neck at this moment. At one point, Amanda was standing behind her. She does fall, which means Raja Salsabia will take the victory. Such a shame there from Mutia Amanda, but it happens in speed all the time. We see those falls. We'll see a replay of that hopefully in a minute. We'll find out the moment she lost it. Looks back up at the wall.
We have our
hands on hips in disappointment. That's such a shame to fall in the final.
It really is. You always want to give it your all, and even if you don't win the race, it's a good feeling to be able to complete a run.
In our elimination round, as we
heartbreaking
continue
when
with
she
the
walks
women's
off.
speed.
We will not see her tonight. But that does signal the end of the first round of the women's competition. So we'll flick over now to the men's side of things. Alexandra Miroslav, as we talked about, is the current world record holder. She broke it 4 times last week in Seoul on her way to a gold medal. And soon we will see Vedrik Leonardo. But there's about to be a man who's also held world records, which is Kermel Katabin. He'll be out on the left-hand side as we look at the results, I think. No, this is the qualification from earlier on. That was their times. And yeah, showing how close they were to world records. Women's world record at 6.2.
6.25.
And here are the results from that
And she's been breaking her own world record time and time again.
It will
Crazy
be
how fast can she go. Well, that's the results from the first round of the women's cup. To see who gets knocked out, who progresses, and the next series of races to make our way towards the final and small final. The men's the same thing, knockout competition. Each athlete gets each other in a straight up race. They knock each other out until we get to that final, small final. The small final is where the bronze and fourth place decided in the final, silver and gold.
From your men's speed qualification results have been determined as we will set
so as our
to
announcer
welcome our first
out across
pairing.
the stadium. We pause momentarily, waiting for the men. They'll be behind that curtain there. And Darren, mind games being played, I reckon, behind there.
So many.
Do you put each other off sometimes deliberately? Like, do you sort of beef up next to someone?
We don't. Usually I close my eyes and meditate behind there. And I feel like that's quite common with the athletes. It tends to be a friendly sport. So I wouldn't say we're
And
intentionally putting
welcoming
each
our
other
first
off.
pairing will be
I have seen a bit of a game occasionally in competitions. I like to see it, actually. It's kind of like, I don't know, it makes it like a very competitive sport. It's quite nice to see that competitive spirit sometimes come out. I'm not saying it was a bit nasty. I'm just saying it's more of a sort of messing with your opponent's brain. Anyway, Kermel on the left, and Yaroslav Tash from Ukraine on the right.
The faster athletes from the qualifiers take lane A, while the slower athletes take lane B.
And lane A seems to be the speedier lane at the moment. Although we discussed it, doesn't really make a difference. Right, here we go. Kermel Katabin to the starting pad. Yaroslav is going to come back in, he's not going to though. Kermel keeps it again. 5.225, ridiculously fast.
Really impressive time for Yaroslav as well. 5.4 is certainly respectable.
Yeah, it really was. Both athletes speeding their way up there. Yaroslav Tash,
As we get set to welcome our next
another level.
pairing in lane A.
And there you can see,
Our
that is
representative
a smile from his face, but that's how wet the stage is in parts, so very tricky out there. another slipper. Is that towel, I think?
Yasukawa
Is he
in
on a
lane
neck
A,
patch?
and in lane
Getting
B,
wetter underneath.
representing Indonesia,
Yun Yasukawa from Japan. He beat the Japanese national record
2:43 seconds yesterday,
and then Zainal
and Yasukawa with a time of
It's exciting to see a
5.22 in
Japanese athlete in the speed
qualification.
final. They tend to do quite well in bouldering, so to see them being more interdisciplinary is great.
Yeah, they were the second he broke that Japanese record. They were immediately on the text messages telling us
Joma.
about the Japanese record. Very, very proud of their athlete, as they should be. So Jun on the left, Zainal on the right. Jun
Ready.
having a word at himself as he eyes the wall. Both off clean. Look at that! Jun is coming back.
Wow. He is so excited. That was really unexpected. I thought Zainal had it from the start, but no. Jun had a faster finish.
Really good from him.
He exploded at the end.
He did, and he was ahead. He kept it together. Look, there he was behind, found something in the middle sector,
As
found
you
about
enjoy the
quarter
highlights
of a
on
body
the
length at
replay
this point.
screen, we will welcome our
It's a bit of an
next
upset
pairing.
from the Japanese athlete.
Next in lane A,
Strong from
representing
him.
Indonesia, Adi Mulyono Rahmat, turning in the best
Next
time
up,
of
Rahmat Adi on the
5.14
left-hand
seconds
side.
in qualification
Chang Wang
yesterday.
on the right.
He will be taking on
Chang wearing a
from
jumper.
China.
I'm amazed by him. I'm sitting in the commentary box sweating.
From China
Although
to put in
that
the
rain
best
earlier
time
has
of
cooled things down here in the
5.28
stadium a little bit.
in
It's taken some of the edge off the heat.
qualification.
We have 6 Indonesian men in the final and 5 Chinese women. Did I get that mixed up? Nope. That is correct.
That's
5
all.
Chinese men, 6 Indonesian men. So we'll be seeing these races a lot.
Yeah, Chinese and Indonesian athletes really are so strong at the moment.
Ready.
Right, here we go. No full starts coming from both. Oh, there's a big slip from Rahmat. He drops it. He keeps it. Look at him coming back.
Look for both athletes, just in different places. It's a matter of who can recover faster.
Congratulations.
Wang at the top. I thought he missed the final pop. He almost had a slip as he went for the final jump.
First round.
Well, let's have a replay. So look on the left. That's our
We'll
first
welcome
slip
our
there.
next two
From
climbers.
Rahmat. He falls but comes back really strongly. You can see it motoring into
From
your screen
China,
there. Look at the top
Zhang
for
Liang,
Wang.
who turned in a
Where's
best
the slip?
time of
Yeah, there, look, a big
5.16 seconds
hesitation.
in qualification. He will be
He
taking
recovered quite nicely. He
on
matched the top of the hold. I'm sure he did not expect to do that, but it was enough for him to
in
finish.
lane B.
Big
Shin
moment.
with a
Both
best time
athletes there.
of
What a race.
5.278
Right.
seconds in
We
qualification.
immediately move on. Ling Zhang, God, I can't read or speak. Ling Zhang on the left-hand side, and Unchal Shin on the right. Unchal, another Korean athlete, getting stronger and stronger and stronger at speed. Another Korean.
Joma.
He's very friendly as well. I trained with him in Korea.
Yeah, he was in the bouldering wall, in the mall here
Ready.
in Indonesia, warming up.
And here we go. Once again.
Big slip from Ling Zhang.
will take it.
All at the top. Unchal
from
takes
Korea.
victory, and sorry we missed a few shots
With
there.
a time
Hopefully we get a
of
replay of that race in a second.
5.476 seconds.
Michel, though, taking victory in a very close fought thing there. Whew. Another one close again. We'll hopefully
And we will
get
now
to see that
welcome
race
our
one
next
more
pairing
time.
in the lane A.
Good
Putting in the
sportsmanship
best
from both
time of
athletes there as they leave the
5.09
stage.
seconds in qualification, representing Indonesia,
Bumps out.
Frederick Leonardo.
Well, we do move on. Vedrick Leonardo,
He will be
huge cheer
taking
from him
on
as he comes out.
also
Current world
representing
record holder.
Indonesia with a time
He
of
is facing Aspar
5.33 qualification.
Can also be very quick in his day.
Aspar won the Jakarta World Cup last year, so we have our returning champion versus our current world record holder who also won last week's competition in South Korea. This will be exciting.
Yeah, don't bet on this race. It literally could be anyone's. I have no idea who's going to take this. Aspar, as you said, won the competition last year in such a close race against Kerma. It was unbelievable. Right,
I will say I love his hair.
Yeah, me too. It's Miho Nanaka style gold out there. Will it be gold for Aspar? We will see.
Ready.
Right, both athletes. Oh, but Aspar immediately slips, which means Vedrick Leonardo just need to cruise. Look at the world record, though. It's not going to be a world record. He had a little bit of a slip. But Aspar fell on the first Tamoa jump move down at the bottom.
Vedrick is just so consistent. It's really unbelievable to watch both him and Alexander Miroslav. Not only do they both hold world records, but they are in my opinion, the most consistent athletes on the circuit.
Yeah, I agree. Look, he didn't back off it. There was a slip at the top. I mean, it might have been another world record. Indonesian team live, work and train in a hotel outside of Jakarta in the speed wall where they have 4 lanes. Very dedicated, apparently no phones, no girlfriends, no nothing. And
A lot of team spirit.
Yeah.
A lot of team spirit. They're almost like a family. They live together, eat together. They really operate as a unit, and it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, and clearly it's having good results. Peng Wu on the left, Jin Bao Long on the right. 2 more teammates. You can see the sweat there on Peng Wu's face. Athletes getting themselves into a bit of a lather backstage, and they go out into this hot stadium. Plenty of chalk needed for this. There'll be liquid chalk, there'll be proper chalked. Drops the chalk bag, of course. No need to take that up there. No time to chalk up. I have chalked up before on a speed wall. I will be honest. And these guys will not. Peng Wu on the left, Jin Bao Long on the right-hand side. Both neck and neck at the moment as they reach the middle of the wall, but now Peng Wu starts to pull ahead and he will take the win with 5.09. How ridiculous are these times in this final? Against a 5.25. I mean, you have to go close to a world record just to get through the round.
So many of these times are faster than what our world record was at this competition last year. It is truly unbelievable.
Yeah, there's been a big step up in terms of time this year.
I mean, just a few years ago, world record was held by Reza Ali Prasena. It was a 5.48, and seeing the progression throughout the field is unbelievable.
Yeah, as we approach our Olympic year, there is Daniel Boldyrev with the Team Ukraine down at the front. The rest of the athletes, Daniel, the old lion of the... I say old, he'll kill me for saying that. The lion of the circuit, perhaps, but watching his teammate.
I think him and Basamawa might be the oldest competitors here.
Yeah, they are legends of our sport. Well, another one of your teammates, Samuel Watson, he is not a lion, he is a young cub, but he is sprung onto the scene from nowhere last year.
It is crazy. He is 17 years old. He's run sub-5 in practice. Really excited to see what he can do this season.
So Samuel Watson on the left, Long Kao on the right. Samuel will want this victory. I know his mum and dad are watching from the crowd. They'll be very keen that their son progresses here. Let's see. Samuel looking down at his feet, waits for the buzzers, swings up, and he is slightly behind at the moment. Long Kao, though, will slip, and Samuel Watson nearly had a moment at the top. Keeps it together for 5.4, which means Samuel Watson will progress with no trouble after Long Kao's slip.
Sim is certainly one of the favorites here. He won Edinburgh last year, so excited to see what he can do here.
Yeah, very strong, close to world records. We talked to him as our up-and-coming athlete to watch. And I always feel a bit bad about that, but he is up-and-coming because, as I said, last year, sprung onto the scene, hadn't really made that impression on the international circuit before.
Right, it was his first World Cup circuit. He won a World Cup. I believe that he is the youngest person ever to win a speed climbing World Cup. He was also the first American to do so.
Unbelievable from him. Right, final race for the men. So, Italian athlete on the left, Matteo Zaloni. We had him as our athlete to watch for this competition. And then Rajajiet Nusma on the left. So, both athletes wait for those buzzers. Another team, Indonesia there against Italy. Rajiati explodes off the start pad, and Rajiati is ahead, but Matteo Zalongi slips again on that right lane. Then Rajiati slips, and it will be Matteo, but Matteo misses the top.
Wow.
Oh, Rajiati takes victory. Matteo with his head in his hands, he had it all in the bag.
That was an unbelievable race. I mean, so many slips. I was not at all expecting that, and then to see Matteo not hit the buzzer, we don't see that too often.
Crazy race there. Let's watch again. So watch the left lane, way behind at this point, and then big slip from Matteo. Kept in it, kept going, slip from Rajiati, and then Matteo, oh look, fingertips away, and he knew what he had done as well.
It looks like his body just came out of the wall a little bit too much, and he couldn't quite reach the buzzer.
Yeah, Rajiati there came back somehow to keep in that race. Matteo did the same thing in the qualifying. He missed the timing pad in his first run, had to come back on the second, and he's done it once again here. Well, that right lane proving to be a bit of a curse for a lot of these athletes. I do wonder if there is a bit of moisture on that wall more than the left, because we've seen so many slips on that right-hand side.
Yeah, it's funny. Speed climbing seems so standardized, but there are definitely small differences in lane texture and, like you were saying earlier, even just being able to see your competitor and how that might affect your mental game on the wall.
Right, so we swap back to the women's competition now. Next series of races as we near our final. This is the only World Cup taking place. Last year we had lead and speed. This year it's a dedicated speed World Cup in a speed-mad city, both in terms of the traffic and motorbike drivers and the speed climbers. Both are, both like to hold the throttle down, put it like that. Alexandra Miroslav on the left. She gets herself ready there on screen. And then Dainu on the right. So Alexandra, will she keep her record going? Is she human? Dainu with a better start. Alexandra comes back as she does, but now she slips. It is going to be Dainu unless Alexandra can find something, which she does in the final part with a 6.677. Alexandra occasionally has a dodgy start. She did there, but her ability to come back at her competitor is unmatched, I think.
She's just so fast. She was able to come back at the top. I wasn't sure if she could do it, but Alexandra Miroslav does not disappoint. Again, she has not lost a World Cup since 2019. It is crazy to see her in form.
There's a flourish at the top there. She slapped the finishing pad. So good from her. I'm sorry, Alexandra, I'd almost written her off there until she came back.
I did too, I'm not going to lie.
So Natalia Kluchka versus her sister Alexandra Kluchka. Two sisters often go against each other, but this time they're going to knock one of each other's out. So I dread to think of the taxi ride to the airport tomorrow.
It's funny, this tends to be a fairly common race.
It does, doesn't it? And this is why I say a blonde hair with Natalia on the left, a black hair with Alexandra on the right. It is easy to mix them up. I try not to. But both of them are equally strong, equally good. Whose day will it be here this evening? Day? Night. It is night. It's dark. Well, the sisters are off clean. Alexandra with a better start, and Natalia with a big slip and a fall, head in her hands. Alexandra just needs to keep it together. She makes sure, slows down, tops out, and Alexandra will progress. And Natalia, not often we see a mistake from her, but there was one there. Slip down low. Finally, the left lane causes some problems. Let's watch that again. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Big slip, missed the wall, couldn't find friction. And Alexandra slowed right down. It definitely messed with her flow there, but she didn't really need a flow at that point, obviously.
And we have our next two coming out. We have Desak Made and Emma Hunt from USA.
Yeah, this could be a good race here. Both of them don't give up, don't stop. Desak in her zone as always, as is Emma, both very focused competitors.
I believe that Desak has a little bit of a faster personal record, but Emma definitely has some fight in her, and speed climbing is so unpredictable, so volatile, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one. Aspar has just come in front of us, being congratulated by his team. Obviously, no part more will he play in this competition. So Desak closes her eyes, chalks up one final time. Gets the auto belay in the correct position from her. Both women with the auto belay in front of them rather than tucked behind. Good start from both women. Emma Hunt's going to have to fight for this one though. Desak is ahead at the moment, but then a little hesitation from her. Can she come back at the top? She does with a 6.695. And look, we talked about Desak's focus. She needed every bit of it there.
She really did. Emma was putting up quite a fight. Our Indonesian crowd is very, very proud of her. A lot of screaming in the audience.
Yeah, they really do. Look at Emma, though. She's in touch all the way. Desak needed to find something special at the top. She drove her way up. And Desak takes victory there. Both women. Nice to see them chatting to each other as they leave. Right, final race for the women. Raja Salsabia will come out against Peng on the right. Right, so Lee Deng on the left, sorry. Lee Deng on the left. Rajia Salsabilia on the right.
Another China-Indonesia race. Quite common now.
Yeah, it really is becoming a thing. Indonesian crowd once again on their feet out there. So many camera phones pointing right now at our wall. Unbelievable to see it. They really get into this competition. Last year it was rowdy during the lead and speed, and it's rowdy again here, which I really enjoy seeing. Right, here we go. Big race this, final women's race to see who moves on to the next round. Clean from both women, and it is a strong start for Li Zhongdeng. Now she hesitates at the top, but Rajia Salsabir will fall behind, and Li Zhongdeng takes victory, but a close run race there from both women. Really, really exciting things here happening in our speed finals as we move on through the second round into the next round for the men.
So we have our final 4 women lined up. They will be announced after our men come out for the round of 8.
Yeah, things move quickly here in speed, as you'd expect. Pace of things really ramps up. Oh, she missed the timing. Well, she didn't miss the time, but didn't have the best of jumps there at the top. All right, results. As we see, those who have fallen, Alexander Kluchka, Alexander Miroslav will move on.
No surprise, 2 Polish women and
Li Zhongdeng we saw.
1 Chinese athlete and 1 Indonesian athlete.
Yeah, Desek Madre moving on. So good races that wait us in the next round for the women, but it's men's up next. As we swap things around. As you can see, hopefully you can work out how things are here in the speed. And now that's the men's next series of races for them. So Kermel Kataben will take on the unbelievable Jun Yasukawa. Can this man continue his run of form in this finals? He was super excited to get through the first round, and every time he moves forward, well, it's better and better result for him.
So excited to see how Kermel does. He is mildly injured right now, but there are rumors that he has run quite fast in practice. Don't know the exact time, but very, very fast. He's held world record many times. His fastest was a 5:009. Which I believe is still his fastest official time, and we'll see what he can do today.
All right, here we go. We get ready for our... Well, actually, here we don't go yet. We're just having a little bit of a pause in proceedings as we wait for the next round of the men's to come out. Coaches waiting down, filming all of the runs so they can analyse it later on when they get back to their home countries. And you can see that's the moisture there on the stage. That's what they're having to battle against here this evening. Well, athletes are announced onto the stage. Jun Yasukawa, what a performance from him so far on the right. And Kermel Kataben, ex-world record holder on the left. This is going to be a very close race.
Excited to see how the Japanese athlete, the sole remaining Japanese athlete, can hold up against our past world record holder.
Yeah, as you said, we know them for the boulder and lead. And he's got a massive smile on his face, enjoying every second of this final.
So happy to be here.
But he is against an absolute legend on the left in Kermel Kataben. Right, here we go. Stadium drops into silence. We wait for the race. Both off. Look how fast Kermel was off the starting pad. Jun is coming back in, but Kermel Kataben is on fire with a 5.075. Kermel Kataben, unbelievable from him. What speed.
Fast times for both athletes, but the Indonesian just had a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, he had it all the way, but Jun, well, big blowout of air from him, but he fought all the way to the end, clawed his way up that wall, and he will be knocked out now, but a brilliant performance from the Japanese athlete.
It's interesting with Kermel. He's so friendly outside of competition, and he seems a little more serious while it's going on. Less of a smile on his face, more focused, getting into really getting into his zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So next two out on stage.
We have
Sure. So they turn, face the wall.
I believe it's Xincheng Wang and
Un Chal Shin on the right. So Un Chal Shin, what a start from him, what a start from both men. Neck and neck, but then Un Chal Shin falls. Shang Wang will move on to the next round. Shang Wang there Really impressive stuff from him. Unchal was absolutely neck and neck up until that fall.
It was.
So Unchal Wang takes the win. Let's look at that fall. Keep an eye on the right hand side of your screen. Looked all good at that point. Maybe slightly out of sequence there.
It looks like he almost missed that hold with his right hand. Maybe his body was a little bit too far out from the wall. He could have hit it with a few fingers, but not a full hand, and it was enough to push him off.
Well, that was the story of that race. That's our coaches watching on.
Our current world record holder coming out, Vedrick Leonardo, in front of his hometown crowd, and he is opposing.
Yeah, we just checked that. So Vedrick Leonardo, there he is, the world record holder.
He's opposing Peng Wu from China. Another China-Indonesia race.
All right, so Peng, a little bit taller. But you were saying height actually can be a bit of a disadvantage in this.
Yeah. We see a lot of shorter athletes doing quite well.
Yeah, Vedrick's so compact, so quick though, right? So the crowd get behind him, but he is behind at the moment. Peng Wu might take this, and he does take this.
Wow.
Knocking out Vedrick Leonardo. And the reaction from the Indonesian crowd, groans, shrieks all around from them.
So fast from each of them, no slips, very, very exciting to see. I was not expecting that result, I have to say.
No, I wasn't either. Kermel is annoyed with himself, as you can see. Let's watch the race again. He was behind from the very, very beginning.
He might have had a little stumble there on the Tomoa skip at the start. I can't really tell, but it looks like the auto belay might have gotten in his way.
Well, last week's gold medalist is knocked out of the competition,
Yeah.
leaving things wide open here in Jakarta.
Our final pairing for the men, we have Sam Watson and
No Samsa on the right-hand side. So Team Indonesia will get behind their next athlete.
Sam Watson is our sole remaining American athlete.
Yeah, very true. Emma Hunt getting knocked out. So Rahajeti Nursamsa on the right and Samuel Watson on the left. Sam Watson would love to take the victory here tonight, and he's looking very determined out there today.
So much focus from these two.
I'm getting excited here. Stadium goes quiet. We wait for the buzzers. Good start from both men. Sam slightly behind, now starting to come back. But Rahajeti is going to take victory, and Sam slipping at the top. Rahajeti there. Fist bumps himself. He will progress to the next round. Sam, I'm sorry, that is your teammate gone.
An unfortunate slip from him. We know he can do it. We know that he will do it again. He just needs some more time.
Absolutely. Sam will return. He rates for Rahajeti there.
It is exciting, though, to see Indonesian athletes doing well in front of an Indonesian crowd.
I think he was slightly ahead. Maybe there he started to fall behind, but that was the slip, and it was all done by that point.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if he would have won that race if he kept on going at his current speed. He definitely excels at the top, accelerates at the top, but our Indonesian athlete was certainly ahead.
Yeah, Rahajeti there, you could see him as he jumped. He almost turned sideways to look at. It looked like he was looking at our camera. I don't think he was. He was looking at the clock. But it was a good moment there.
2 Indonesian athletes and 2 Chinese athletes advancing to our round of 4.
All right, well, we'll flip back to the women now. Alexander Kaluchka versus Alexander Miroslav will be up first of all.
Miroslav is our favorite here, but she has been looking a little more slippy than usual. So
yeah, you're right. There's lots of action here in our speed finals tonight. It hasn't been straightforward for any of the athletes. Everyone seems to have had a moment at some point. All right, we wait for the countdown. The organisers will be holding them until we're all ready to go. You can see the curtain twitching, hiding them from the eyes of the viewers.
Our coaches seem just as focused as our athletes.
So Alexander puts a hand up as oh, look at them both. Oh, actually, we are going to get the announcements. I always forget that happens. The athletes will get reintroduced, the men and women. So those are our last round of this competition. Of course, they won't get knocked out of this stage because they will then progress to the small final and final. So less of a knockout, more of a who can get which colour gold medal. So
Exactly.
medal.
These athletes are all dead serious right now. Little to no smiles, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's all that mind games, isn't it?
A lot of nerves running through them.
They wait. Alexandra wants to go. She does go. She wants to leave. Gets out of there. Right, so the athletes clear the stage. And Alexandra will be making her way back all the way around to the right-hand side. She won't want to be standing out there on the mats any more than necessary. And that is our timing pad. And how important is that, that pad, eh? The most slacked bit of wall in climbing history. This is actually the wall they used in Chamonix last year. It's the Chamonix wall.
They've been shipping it back and forth. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's they're buying up. I think they bought Chamonix's lead wall as well. They did last year. It was Chamonix's lead wall. I don't know why Chamonix. Maybe they've got a deal going on with the French. Who knows?
Matt, you're from Chamonix. Is that correct?
I am indeed. Yeah, that's my home country. So when we go there for the World Cup, I get to sleep in my own bed, which is a bit weird actually. I'm used to sort of travel and that feeling, but I sort of roll out of my bed, have a coffee, and then go to work. It's quite nice.
And this is very exciting. We have a fully Polish, Chinese, and Indonesian top 4 for both our men and our women.
Yeah, so Alexandra Miroslav will be looking to make another finals, another gold medal to her collection. She is against Alexandra Kaluchka. So the two Alexandras, Miroslav and Kaluchka.
Just confusing.
And Desek Madre versus Lee Jong-deng for the second race. Right, there'll be no more pauses in proceedings. The athletes have been announced. We know who's competing. Everyone's ready. The MC's ready. Just joining us, welcome to the final series of races here in the Speed Finals in Jakarta. If you're joining us, you missed a great race so far. I'm with Darren Skolnick from Team USA.
These athletes just getting some rest before they step out for the semifinal. And here we go. Alexandra Miroslav on lane A versus Alexandra Kaluchka on lane B. Two Polish athletes. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, exactly right. Here we go. It's going to be a close run thing. Alexandra is the favourite, but she's had some moments so far. Will that have affected her mental headspace? And Alexandra knocked out her sister earlier on. And she gets clipped in and ready to go for the semi-final.
Alexandra Miroslav with a world record of 6.25 and Kaluchka with a 6.64 personal record.
Must be so cool to see a PB as the world record, isn't it? It's like that strange feeling. Right, here we go. Well, both women off clean. There's Alexandra behind. It's Kaluchka behind at the moment. Miroslav will take this as long as she can keep it together, but she almost doesn't at the top. Again, Miroslav showing that, like, these slips are happening all over the place. She's just about holding on tonight. Bit of a moment for her on the top half of the wall. Let's watch again. So Kaluchka was behind, then she started to claw things back. Check an eye on Miroslav. She just had a bit of a moment near the top. It's hard to see that in that slow motion, but in full speed, just a little, I don't know what it was, just a body movement, something.
A little wobble.
A wobble, yeah. Right, last semi-final race for the women. Desek Madre walks over on the left, Lee Jong-deng on the right-hand side.
Another classic China versus Indonesia race. Desek Madre again was our second place qualifier.
So, which one of these women will be joining Alexandra Miroslav in the finals?
Second finalist for women's speed.
Desek so focused. The same routine every single time from her. Lee Jong-deng waiting till the last moment to put that chalk on. A little sweat as possible. Both women off clean, and it is Lee Jong-deng though with a little slip down low. Coming back at her is Desek Madre. It's going to be anyone's in the air.
Wow, so close. I thought that Lee Jong-deng had it.
That was literally one in the air there. Hopefully we can get a replay of that. Desek, well, she allows herself a little bit of a smile there, but she will be in the final in a second.
It looked like she literally just reached up faster than her opponent. Crazy to see.
Really was. So cool. Let's have a look at that race once more. Lee Jong-deng was a head down at the bottom, about half a body length. Then Desek Madre, as she does, comes back from nowhere. That side method and in the air.
I couldn't tell. Did she hit the buzzer lower down?
It's photo finish. That really is. Luckily, electronics do the counting for us. I couldn't have called that. Well, there we go. That will be the final. So Alexander Miroslav versus Desek Madre in the final. And then Alexander Kaluchka versus Lee Jong-deng for the small final. Fourth and bronze will be decided there. So 2 more races to go for the women. We've got another round for the men in the semi-final. Men's semi-final, there it is. Stage. Katabin versus Wang starting off with, and Wu versus Narasama, and the second race.
Katabin again, our past world record holder and one of our hometown favorites here in Indonesia.
Yeah, exactly. They want one of their athletes in the final. Otherwise, they might demand a refund on the tickets. Actually, I think it's free ticketing here. Some events you have to pay for to get in, some aren't. And we're in the middle of this stadium, which is in the middle of a whole series of huge skyscraper-like buildings, lit up with lights. So, Shengyang Wang will be on the right, Kermal Katabin on the left.
Kermal Katabin was our first place qualifier.
Oh, sorry, I said completely wrong. Yeah, Ingxiao Wang on the right-hand side. Kermal Katabin on the left.
Wang with a 5.11 PB, PR.
Yeah, 5 dead for Kermal Katabin. Right. So at the moment it's Katabin ahead as he begins upwards, but a little pause there. Wang's coming back at him at the top. Oh! Ingxiao Wang will move into the finals. And that means so much to him, as you can see, knocking out Kermal Katabin from the final.
These times are absurd, too. Within 0.02 seconds of one another. So much excitement here. I don't know if I've ever seen a World Cup as close as this one.
Yeah, it's full on here for all the athletes, but look how much that means.
And still so much camaraderie. Giving each other a hug at the end. It's wonderful to see.
Ingxiao Wang will move on. Let's see that again. It was really close. How did Wang find that in the top part? Look, it was all at the top.
It looks like Kermal almost lost it at the top. He had a small foot slip, and that could have cost him the race.
Ingxiao Wang will take victory there, but that really was another race won in the air. How good can you dyno? That's what it's becoming about now. All right, next race will be Peng Wu on the left, Rahajita on the right.
Peng Wu is a little bit faster on paper, 5.01.
Rahajeti on the right, yeah, true, on paper. But I mean, paper's a funny thing to call when it's that close, isn't it? I mean, so, Wu starting off. Oh, but a big step from Wu. Rahajeti is going to take this, and he does. So we get an Indonesian in the final, which will please the home crowd. Brilliant.
So much cheering from our very large crowd.
Yeah, they went absolutely insane when he got that. So Rahajeti will move on.
And remind me, Matt, who's he racing?
Sorry, who's he racing? So not Kermal Katabin, so Wang in the final. So it's going to be an exciting one in that final. Can't wait for that. That will be a couple of minutes away. We'll do the women's first.
Our small final first, actually, and then our big final following that.
All right, here we go. Last couple of races here this evening.
This is the race for the bronze medal.
So Wang versus Narasama versus Katabin versus Wu for the men. Well, the women's will be up next. Coming up to 8:48 here in Jakarta in the evening. We were worried that the final might get pushed back to the rain, but it's taken place nevertheless. Flags waving at the bottom of your screen there.
So much national pride here in Indonesia.
All right, we'll have a little bit of a pause here as we wait for the women. Let's have another look at the confirmation for who we're about to see. Alexander Miroslav, Shua versus Desek Madre for the final. And then in the small final, Alexandra Kaluchka versus Lee Jong-deng in the small final. And small finals, so tough. I mean, there's no medals on offer there. It's either a bronze or you go home with basically nothing.
Exactly. At least in the big final, you can walk away with a silver. But the small final is it's kind of your last chance to walk home with something.
Yeah, I say basically nothing. Obviously, a fourth place in the World Cup is special, but it's that feeling of like, at least in a final you get a silver or gold. Not so the case in the small final. Indonesian flags waving. Nice to see our crowd there. We haven't seen too much of them from our camera shots, but there they are again, packed into this stadium. There's food on offer at the back, drinks going around. A bit of a party atmosphere here as the lights go. Right, seconds away here. The lights hit the wall. 2 spotlights for 2 athletes. And the countdown has begun. Seconds tick by as we wait. They're just making the audience, we're just hyping them up for this final here. You can see Alexander Miroslav waiting at the back. We will, of course, have the small final first of all. The coaches wait. We wait. Belayers wait. Bring them out. Let's get speedy. Come on. Spotlights dancing there a little bit with the music, which has been playing all day. As I said, a real party atmosphere here in the stadium. As this is the final round of the last 3 weeks of competition. There is a bit of a break now, a week. Everyone gets to fly home and get ready for the Salt Lake City USA comp. That will take place in just over a week's time. Paraclimbing there, speed climbing and lead boulder, so lots going on in the USA. My first time in Salt Lake, can't wait to go. All right, here we go, small final time. Alexander Kaluchka comes out, lays those towels down, takes the shoes off, trying to ensure the shoes are as dry as possible.
Setting up their pads before they begin.
Yeah, and Lee Jong-deng will take her time as well.
Have to make sure that they're centered correctly. Putting their towels right by the starting pad so they get to wipe off their feet before they begin.
Yeah, they were literally sweeping puddles of water off that stage before the competition. Alexander Kaluchka on the left, Lee Jong-deng on the right. Here we go. Who will walk over the medal? Who will take 4th place in the heartbreak? Oh, it's good from both women. At the moment, Alexander starts to pull ahead of Deng. Lee Jong-deng, though, starts to come back at her in the final part of the wall, but Alexandra Kaluchka takes the bronze medal.
An unbelievably close race, down to the thousandth of a second. 6.649 versus 6.50. So exciting to see. It looked like Deng had the faster start, and Kaluchka was able to catch her at the end.
Brilliant from both women there. Another race, pretty much one in the air. So close. Let's watch that again. Yeah, neck and neck at this stage. But Lee Jong-deng came back at her in the final part. Powers her way up, and just in the air, Alexandra found that millimeters more.
Looked like Alexandra had a small foot slip at the end. Interesting to see that she was able to keep the lead.
Emma Hunt walking by. Waving to you, Darren.
Our men's small final. This is Kiramal Katibin and
Wu Peng on the right. So, small final first, same with the women, and then we'll move on to the final in a second. So, Peng Wu on the right, Kiramal Katibin on the left. Kiramal was gutted not to make the final. He'll really want a medal out of this.
Peng chalking up his shoes before he starts. Maybe adding a little bit more friction to this humid day. Humid wall.
Yeah, here we go. Small finals time for the men. Well, no full starts. It's good to see. Kiramal Katibin pulling ahead, but Peng Wu coming back at him in the final part, and then Kiramal Katibin slips. Peng Wu slips, and Kiramal Katibin finally takes victory just after a double slip there to finish things off. Crazy race.
Slips in the exact same place. I've seen that before, but we do not tend to see it too often, and it's wild when it happens.
Oh, back and forth, and Kiramal, well, looks a bit disappointed, but back and forth that race was. Want to see a replay of that. Multiple slips throughout. So let's look at this again. Good all the way, and then finally at the top, big slip from Kiramal. Big big slip from Peng Wu. He falls. Kermel Katabin carries on. Kermel held that with fingertips there.
He did. So much of speed climbing is you have to keep on going. You never know what will happen to your opponent. In a case like that, when your opponent falls off the wall and you think that you've lost, if you continue at any rate, you will win the race.
All right, well, let's take a deep breath from that race. Move on to our women's final. Alexandra Miroslav on the left-hand side. Desek Madre on the right. This is going to be a close run thing. Alexandra has come back time and time again during this final, as has Desek.
These are our leading 2 women from the qualifiers round as well. Miroslav had the top time and Desek was second place.
All right, here we go. You can see the Olympic rings on Alexandra's arm. That's her pedigree. What can Desek Madre do this evening? The Desek Madre off to a much quicker start, but Alexandra Miroslav now coming back at her, and she's cruising through the final part of the wall.
Wow.
And she does take another gold medal. Desek will settle for silver.
She wins again. She has not lost a World Cup since 2019. She will continue her win streak. This is truly unbelievable. I have never seen another athlete have as consistent of wins as she does.
Unbelievable stuff from her. All week, I've been watching her in the hotel. She walks around focused. She warms up in a focused way. She's won brilliantly once again.
Desek Mate fought hard, though.
Yeah, she did. And finally, we see the smile from Alexandra's eyes. Let's see a replay of this. Alexandra Miroslav, so much power, especially in the top half of the wall.
Yeah, they almost looked neck and neck during the start, and Alexandra just pulled away a little bit during the midsection. Desek actually caught up at the top, but it just wasn't enough.
Okay, men's final. Rahajeti from Indonesia. And Xingxiang Wang on the left. Right, obviously the crowd is behind their favourite Rahajeti. Xingxiang Wang will be on the left. The crowd will be willing him to fall. We're not. It's going to be a brilliant race, this one. So Rahajeti Le Samsa versus Xingxiang Wang. Good start from both. Wang at the moment is behind. Look at the speed of Rahajeti. He's going to take it in the air, and he does with a 5.118. The men behind us are screaming. Everyone in the crowd is going crazy there.
So close in the times once again. Rahajeti just had him at the start. Wang caught up at the end, but it wasn't enough. I'm quite excited to see an Indonesian athlete winning in front of their hometown crowd.
Brilliant victory there from the home favourite.
And so much excitement in the audience.
Brilliant from him. Oh, well, look, that is the victory that every Indonesian in this stadium wanted. Look at the power. Came back from absolutely nowhere down at the bottom, was behind, and then leaping up with a 5.115. Oh, well, I mean, it's a bit of a dream ending there.
It really is. It really is. Last race, we have the Indonesian coming off on top.
And that was the story of that final. Brilliant from him. Immediately turned to face the crowd, and you can see everyone grabbing the cameras straight away.
Indonesian flag waving high.
Yeah, well, they'll be announced onto the stage. And just like that, our speed finals is done. Super exciting there.
These go so fast. It's very intense while it's happening.
It does. Oh, let's just coming up to under an hour there, that final. I feel like we've been talking forever, though. Yeah. Super intense here in the stadium. Well, that's the confirmation. Alexandra Miroslav will take the gold medal. Desek Madre with the silver. Alexander Kaluchka with the bronze. Li Zhongdeng with the 4th place finish for the women. Well, they're being announced onto the stage now. It won't be the podium, it will be the flower ceremony first. Alexandra Miroslav, victory for her again. Surely she can't keep on doing this. I mean, at some point she's got to fall or slip or have an off day even.
You know, I would say the same thing, but she has not yet. It's been 4 years. I will say this is probably the craziest thing I've seen in all of climbing. Someone who has not lost a World Cup in 4 years who consistently competes.
Crazy, isn't it? All right, they leave the stage. Alexander kind of dictating things there.
Wow.
As the lights spin around our stadium. And wait
Our
for
men
the
coming
reaction
out.
for this man. Rahajeti takes victory in front of his home crowd.
I believe that's his first World Cup win. He just must be so excited.
And there's confirmation. Chang Wang in silver and Kermel Katabin in bronze. He'll be disappointed not to take victory, but his teammate is over the moon, as you can see. Right, Darren, you've got to go and interview our winners, so you go do that. I'll see you back here in the commentary box in a moment.
Wonderful.
All right, mate, see you in a sec. Well, we wait. For Darren to do the interviews, although they have just carried our... I'm not sure if we will get an interview there, because they've just moved one of the things out of the stadium. As you can see, that was where we were going to do our interviews, on that backdrop, but instead it's the backdrop for the stage. All right, we'll get those interviews in a couple of seconds. Things a little bit chaotic here in the stadium as the podium there is mopped up. And so, as I mentioned before, we've got a next World Cup will be in Salt Lake in about a week's time. I tell you what, Darren, come back and say goodbye before you go and do these interviews, because I'm not sure if you're going to be doing this interview down at the front. So, Darren, you'll be competing at your home World Cup very soon. You excited for that?
I am. I'm so excited. It's great to have it in Salt Lake City. I moved there recently, and it's so nice to be able to, like you were saying, sleep in my own bed before a competition and just have that hometown crowd.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a massive moment for all Team USA athletes as the circuit picks up, flies the other way around the world, and we end up in the USA in about a week's time. Paraclimbing as well, one of my favourite competitions. And so paraclimbing, boulder and speed all taking place. It's going to be brilliant.
A lot of excitement.
That's a carnage here in the stadium, by the way. I'm laughing a bit because there are people carrying billboards around, the crowd's screaming. It's it's an exciting end to our competition. So yeah, home World Cup for you. And how's the build-up going for the USA athletes?
It's going well. It's going well. We get to have a few more athletes competing there because we're hosting. I believe that we have over 10 women and over 10 men competing. So it will be a strong USA presence, and we executed quite well last year. Excited to see how we do now.
All right, Darren, now we have to say goodbye to you. So thank you so much for joining me here this evening. See you in Salt Lake City.
I'll see you in Salt Lake. Thank you for having me, Matt.
Best of luck, man. See you soon. All right, well, our podium's on the stage there as we wait for the athletes to be announced. At some point, Darren will go and talk to them. We think it might be me in a couple of minutes. Who knows? We'll listen to our MC there as he gives us the vital information. I said Indonesia is the home of speed. Well, their athletes certainly prove time and time again how good they are. Consistency is key. For the women, consistency, well, Alexandra Miroslav, she defines consistency here in the finals. Couple of minutes away from our podium. And the auto belay is clipped up. That gets a bit of a rest for the time being. Yeah, the wall from Chamonix, as I mentioned, and a lot of people are talking about how quick the Seoul wall was. It was a brand new wall last weekend. Only last weekend. So much has happened since last weekend. But a world record breaking wall. I think a new wall means slightly grippier friction. Certainly that made a big difference to the world records that tumbled in the last comp. So if you want to go back, you can watch that broadcast. The song that's playing in the background is the theme song of climbing here in Indonesia. It's catchy, right? I will admit it's slightly less catchy when it's played non-stop, but it's playing in my head as well non-stop. I go to sleep dreaming of that song. It's a banger, what can I say? We can see the crowd projected onto the big screens down at the front. Always a hive of activity going on behind. And you can see the warm-up wall we were talking about earlier on the left of your screen. 4 lanes, mini auto belays, and the start of the speed route all set up. And that made a big difference to the athletes warming up. Being able to warm up on the actual holds they're about to compete on. Warm-up walls aren't standardized, depends on the venue. I know from talking through a lot of the athletes that that's what they prefer, is a setup like that. So fair play to the Indonesia organisers for sorting that out for us. Whoever's been waving that Indonesian flag hasn't stopped all evening. You can see a stadium in the background. That's a baseball field over there. There's a running track around it as well. And this morning I went for a run and there was a party-like atmosphere in the stadium. Hundreds of people out exercising, music playing, people lifting weights, people doing dance classes, playing badminton in the street. It was all go. Sport taking centre stage on a Sunday morning. It's always a bit like herding cats this side of the tournament. We've got to find the athletes. The organisers have got to get ready. And at some point, we'll get them out onto the stage. A bit of a pause here in proceedings. If you're just joining us, you've missed the whole comp. Where have you been? It was a good one. Someone dabbing there on the screen. Team Indonesia coaches having a good time. Crowds are streaming past our commentary box here. We're right on the left. You can't see me. I'm in the darkness on the left-hand side, but that's where I'm sitting. Get a good view of the speed wall and what's going on. And nearing the end here of a 3-week triple header. Started off in Japan for the first Boulder World Cup of the season in Hachioji. We then moved on to the competition in Seoul, Korea for the speed and boulder. And then this week we've been in Indonesia for just the speed. The boulder athletes going home for a bit of training in between comps, and a lot of the boulder athletes talking about how they were looking forward to that moment. 2 weeks of training in readiness for their next competition. It's in a whirlwind start. Well, there is Alexandra Miroslav, and we're waiting for her interview.
Alexandra, congratulations. You have not lost a World Cup in many years. You won again here in Jakarta. How does it feel?
Every winning is different. I mean, every set is different challenges. For here was like a rainy day and wet, so I need to challenge with them. So the first run of the round was like kind of difficult, but then I found my flow and I was good. So yeah, I'm really happy, and every gold medal is making me much happier.
Wow, amazing to hear. Now, this is an Olympic qualifying year. How are you feeling going forward to our qualifying events and then hopefully the games again?
Sorry, can you repeat?
This is an Olympic qualifying year. How do you feel going forward to the qualifying events and then hopefully the Olympics again?
For now, I am 100% for the Olympic qualifier for the Bern World Championship in Switzerland. So I just thinking about it to be in big final and take my ticket to the Paris. And all I do here or 1 week earlier for the 2 next week on the World Cup is like part of prepare for the World Championship this year.
Wow, wonderful to hear. And will you be joining us in Salt Lake City and for the rest of the World Cups?
I will join you Salt Lake City, and then I finish my World Cup season and focus for the World Championship.
Well, we will be excited to have you in Salt Lake. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you to Alexandra there. She leaves our winners circle. And next up, Rahajeti will join us from Indonesia. He's looking very, very excited on the left, full of smiles, as he would be. Brilliant gold medal from him. That interview is coming up in a couple of seconds. I can see him waiting. Darren's waiting.
It is in front of your hometown crowd. How do you feel?
There he is. Let's hear from him.
Thank you for your makasih buat itu. Oh bangga. Thanks for appreciation. Yes, I'm very excited, very happy to this memory.
It was so exciting to watch you compete. Now having won a World Cup, do you have a different mindset, a different mentality going into the rest of the season?
Yes, I have a mentality saya punya mental tuan rumah dan saya tidak punya beban di sini. Okay.
He said that he have our mentality, personal mentality, and there is no pressure in this hometown.
That's wonderful to hear that the pressure has been taken off, and we wish you the best of luck. Again, just so excited to see you out here performing in front of your hometown crowd. Will you be in Salt Lake City for the next World Cup?
Mudah-mudahan saya ingin ikut.
We hope he can join in Salt Lake City. Okay.
Wonderful. We will see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So his best finish before this was 6th, his first gold medal, and what a performance from him. You could see how happy he was. Well, we'll have our podium in a couple of seconds. He's being ushered backstage, and the women will be waiting for the podium. You can see them gathering there behind the curtain on the right-hand side. Those lights that cut across the sky, you can see them from miles around. Our hotel's only just down the road this year, and you can look out of the windows and see the lights. Really exciting and great to see climbing taking its place, as it should, amongst all the other sports.
Terima kasih atas kesadarannya untuk semua peserta di sini dan teman-teman juga. Dan saat ini kami ingin memanggil tamu-tamu.
Right, our MC is announcing the podium places. They will about to come out onto the stage, getting their medals.
Climbing World Cup 2023. First, I would like to call up the chairwoman of the Federation for Climbing here in Indonesia, Ibu Yani Wahid. Come on up. Bu Yani, terima kasih. Boleh dipersilakan dulu di sebelah sana. Sampai kita memanggil juga, would like to call up our Minister of Youth and Sports in Indonesia, Dito Aryo Tejo. join us here as well. Thank you. And in the meantime, we would like to call first our winners from the
Head official there
women's
on the
C
stage.
category. We would like to call up from Indonesia, Madewita Kusuma Dewi Desak. Also, welcome.
All right, here we go. The athletes get their moment in the spotlight. I'll be quiet so we can listen to the MC and let them enjoy this moment.
The podium, ladies. And at this time, we would like to award the bronze medal, and to do so, Ibu Yeni dipersilakan untuk mempresentasikan medali perunggu untuk pemenang kita juara 3.
Oh, there we go. Alexandra Kluczka stands up with the bronze medal around her neck.
Big round of applause, and we would like to invite
Delighted, as she always is.
dipersilakan untuk memberikan bunga untuk juara 3 kita.
Desak Madre with the silver medal, becoming such a contender in this women's competition. Alexander will enjoy the flowers, enjoy this moment. Silver medal. And expect a big shout here from the crowd. Brilliant from her. Shows that dedication the Indonesian team put into their training, their living, all pays off.
Dipersilakan untuk memberikan bunga untuk juara 2 silver medalist from Indonesia.
And then finally, the most consistent woman in the speed competition stands up. Gold medal for her, Alexandra Miroslav.
Representing Poland, Alexandra Miroslav. Standing from the IFSC, if you would please give the gold medal to our winner.
Can she lose at the moment? She looks completely unbeatable. But the tour doesn't stop. The comps don't finish. And everyone will be gunning for her top spots in Salt Lake City.
And congratulations to our 3 medalists. And we would like to invite you all now to rise for the playing of the Poland national anthem. Once again, a big round of applause for all our medalists here. We would like to invite our esteemed guests as well after this picture op. Yeah, there you go. Big smiles all around. And as well, if you could please join them as well, our esteemed VIP guests, Stanley, Ibu Yeni, dan Pak Dito juga, untuk dipersilakan gabung untuk foto. Untuk yang mengambil gambar.
Well, the women enjoy their moment in the spotlight, as they should do. Which side should I stand? Which is my best side? That's it.
And there we go. Congratulations.
Well, women's podium wraps itself up. Last photos are taken before we move on to the men's side of things.
Thank you so much. Our esteemed guests, we can have you take your places again. Again, congratulations to our medalists. What wonderful performances you have all turned in this past weekend at the IFSC Climbing World Cup in Jakarta. Oke, untuk Stanley, Mas Dito sama Ibu Yeni untuk ngambil tempatnya dulu. Sampai kita lanjut saat ini. Kami saat ini ingin memanggil medalis tiga-tiganya. We are going to call our three medalists. Wang Xin-Shang from China. We also have Nur Samsa Raharjati from Indonesia.
And here are the men announced onto the stage.
Also from Indonesia.
And the Indonesian crowd, as expected, go just a little bit crazy.
Once again, invite Ibu Yeni to award the bronze medal. The bronze medal going to Indonesia's very own
Kermel Katabin takes that bronze medal.
Dan Pak Dito dipersilakan untuk memberi bunganya untuk juara kita di malam ini. Kartini Kiroma putting in an amazing performance this weekend as well. Great representation, thank you so much. And we would now like to announce our silver medalist here at the men's speed climbing event, representing China, Wang Xin-Shang. Congratulations and to
Silver medal for him.
standing from the IFSC, if you please.
Not sure how happy he looks, but I'm sure he is delighted inside.
Congratulations, and Pak Dito dipersilakan untuk memberi bunganya untuk juara 2. And finally, we would like to proudly announce our
Well, this is going to be a massive moment in the stadium. Here we go. Wait for the reaction.
We would like to have Stanley one more time from the IFSC to please award the gold medal to our winner. Dan kali ini untuk Ibu Yeni dipersilakan untuk memberi bunganya untuk pemenang kita malam ini.
So there we go, two Indonesians on the podium. And now, what a moment for the crowd here as we wait for the Indonesian national anthem.
Indonesia Raya.
Well, as the final notes, the Indonesian athlete rings out across the stadium. The athletes will stand on the top spot one last time to get those photos
There
taken.
you go. Take your pose, gentlemen. Look happy, smile. You guys have all had a great weekend. Amazing performances by all of you and along with the other athletes as well who took part in this weekend's IFSC Climbing World Cup Jakarta 2023.
And it's time for us to say goodbye as well here from sweaty Jakarta. What a performance it has been in the steaming hot city. Brilliant from the speed athletes. Great that they get their own dedicated World Cup so we can really focus on the performance of those men and women. As We watch some of the replays from this evening. We'll say goodbye. We'll see you in Salt Lake City for the next round of the IFSC World Cup. Thank you so much for Darren for joining me. Matt Groom here in the commentary box. It's been a pleasure bringing you all of the action, as always. Ups, down, falls, and of course, the speediest men and women on the planet here this evening. I'll say goodbye, and I will see you in a week's time in Salt Lake City.
We would like to congratulate all of our winners once again. Terima kasih juga untuk para tamu kita. And thank you to all of you for joining us here this past weekend. This has been an amazing weekend.